Thank you. And I was told to mention the first part of what I'm going to say, that I got it off of the Planned Parenthood website. Otherwise, Kristen might knock me off the stage. So, this is off the website from Planned Parenthood, and it's under your feelings after abortion. You may have a wide range of feelings after your abortion. Most women ultimately feel relief. Some women feel anger, regret, guilt, or sadness for a little while. Serious, long-term emotional problems after abortion are about uncommon as they are after giving birth. Well, I'm here to refute those words. As I share my testimony with you, I just want you to know that I also share the testimony of hundreds of men and women. Since being involved in Silent No More and Rachel's Vineyard, I have listened to numerous testimonies. And even though our circumstances are different, I have discovered that we experience so much of the same emotional, physical, and spiritual pains and difficulties. I was 18 years old when I became pregnant. Scared and confused, I went to a local Planned Parenthood hoping to get information and advice. Planned Parenthood knew how to tap into my emotions, and they did. Taking advantage of my situation, this is where I was sold the lie, and I bought it. You're so young. You have your whole life ahead of you. It's a quick and easy procedure, and afterwards you can go on to your normal life. This is the best thing for you to do. There were no other alternatives discussed, and I felt I had no choice. With the truth hidden from me, I left with a quickly made appointment for an abortion, not knowing the consequences I would face. Within a couple days, the father and I were sitting in the waiting room of an abortion facility. As we sat there, there was this overwhelming feeling in my heart. This didn't feel right, but yet I was told this was a good and healthy choice. And then I told myself, it's legal, so it has to be okay. So when my name was called, I slowly entered the doors to a room where my child's life would end. I would never meet the person about to take the life of my child. He just entered the room with his mission. And without any explanation of what was going to occur to me, he began his execution. The procedure, quick and easy. There was nothing quick and easy about it. In fact, it was very painful physically, and it felt exactly like what was happening. I just stared at the wall, biting my lip, trying to get through it all. And when it was over, I was directed to a room where other women who were recovering, we laid on hospital gurneys lined up against the wall. Some women were weeping, and we never made eye contact. And others remained silent and dazed, as if they were disconnected. As I laid there waiting for that feeling of relief, the so-called crisis was over. The problem was solved. It was over. But what I felt was shame. I thought I just allowed a stranger to rip not only a part of my soul, but my baby out of my body. And then back to a normal life. The days and months following my abortion, I would relive that procedure. I vividly remember, and I still do, the sounds of the suction, the physical pain, the coldness of the room, the other women's vacant stares, and the full impact of my decision and its consequences were starting to evolve. I became depressed. Both my physical and emotional pain grew. Alcohol and drugs became my comfort and escape from the pain. I developed a promiscuous lifestyle to experience the feeling of being wanted and loved again. But yet, deep inside, I became indifferent toward men. I grew distant from the ones who loved and cared for me the most, my family and especially God. I hated myself and I became numb to my feelings. During this horrific cycle of drinking, drugs, and sexual sin, I had 2 more abortions. This is the darkness that I lived for years, and this is what Planned Parenthood sold me. It's been a long journey in my conversion and my healing, and that journey would eventually lead me to a Rachel's Vineyard retreat, where I truly experienced God's mercy and forgiveness. I reconnected with my faith, and I was able to acknowledge, grieve, and give dignity to each of my children. John Michael, George Stephen, and Mary Elizabeth. I was finally able to forgive myself, and I left the retreat no longer bound by my past sinful actions. I realized no matter what I had done, no sin was beyond the reach of God's grace. Many of us have been or possibly will be impacted by abortion of an unborn child. Fathers, mothers, grandparents, siblings, and friends. The list goes on. You see, abortion has many victims beyond the child who is destroyed. Through my life, I have had to confront many challenges, and I know there's going to be more. One of the most difficult challenges was to tell my 2 children. I talked to them individually and at different times of their lives. I have been so incredibly blessed by my children. They are such a great gift. Their response was love and forgiveness. I'm especially proud of my daughter. She is an incredible young lady. After months of courageously challenging her principal, she started a pro-life group at her school. She has taken the task to educate her peers and a mission to change the culture and save lives. She has become a great advocate for the unborn and their mothers. In her school and in her community. And I am so very proud of her, and I'd like to introduce her to you. This is my daughter, Madeline.
Dear John Michael, George Stephen, and Mary Elizabeth, even though I never knew you and I never had the chance to introduce myself as your younger sister, I love you. I'm sorry you never had the chance to experience having Christmas with the family, school dances, and being able to see God's entire beautiful creations. I wish you were all here today just so I could share memories with you and my love. I knew my mother was young, afraid, and confused. Her first abortion, she said, led to believe that this was the best thing for her to do. Afterwards, she was left with overwhelming sadness and emotional distress, which led to drugs, alcohol, and deep depression. During the dark time of my mother's life, she had 2 more abortions. She was emotionless and felt no pain since her first abortion. My mother told me about my siblings when I was 14. After church on Mother's Day, my mom took me to the church garden and she proceeded to tell me about her 3 abortions. As I looked at her, I could tell in her eyes as they watered I knew she was wounded from her past. All I said was, I love you and you're an amazing mother. When reflecting on my mother's story, I feel abortion should be abolished. I have not only seen abortion wound my mother, but also friends and family. I made the decision to become active in the pro-life movement to educate my generation and share the truth about abortion. In my freshman year of high school, with the help of Students for Life, I formed a pro-life club at my school to educate my peers, and we will be the generation to end abortion. I stand here today in honor of my siblings, John Michael, George Stephen, and Mary Elizabeth.